I used only one type of pen in my journal for a whole month. Coming from a pen addict, that's like crazy. I would never commit to something like that. So how did this happen? And most importantly, should you commit to an experiment like this? I'm Sarah from Ensign Insights. Let's talk about 5 reasons why you may or may not want to use one type of pen in your journal for 30 days. To fully explain how this came to be, I have to take you back a couple months ago. Long story short, I was in a really low spot mentally. Life was really overwhelming and I hadn't taken the time for myself to fill my own bucket. You know when it gets like that? So through some retail therapy, I got this journal. Let me show you. This is the journal that I got. It was this paragraph that made me buy it because it says it's a reminder that there's a whole lot of fun to be had, especially when you let loose, toss away your expectations, and stay true to your unique, exceptional self. I read this and I was like, that's what I want in my life. So the first day I lettered it, I just grabbed whatever pens that were closest, which happened to be these ones right here. These were new, so they were still out on my desk. The Staedtler Tri Plus highlighter. These ended up being really good because they won't fray on random journal paper. I didn't know at first what I was doing, so I just was like, oh, let's just letter something crazy. So here's my second draft, and from that I was like, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna commit, and every day I am going to fill 1 page, and that's what I did. After 1 week, I was like, hey, this is going pretty good. Should I keep going longer? And a month later, I was still going. Before I explain what happened that made me stop this daily habit, here are 5 reasons you may or may not want to use one type of pen for a whole month. Number 1, it will be easier to letter daily when you don't have to make the decision of what pens and supplies you're going to use. If you're like me, I need to hand letter to fill up my own bucket. When I start, I'm so empty, there's no energy to make one more decision for the day. Typically, I just wouldn't letter because it was one more overwhelming thing to think about. That sounds crazy because I love all of my pens and my watercolor and all my lettering supplies. I would happily use any of them. But in this season of my life, it was just making that decision when I'm so tired. It was so hard. So what do you think? Would this work for you? Would you feel constricted to only use one type of pen? Or do you think it would help you to not have to make so many decisions? Number 2, your lettering styles will be limited. This can be a good or a bad thing. I explored a consistent style because I was using the same colors and these same pens. So I was exploring these little lines. On this one, I was trying something different, using all capital letters and doing just a little shadow. And then I did it in rainbow with the rainbow shadows and gray. And then I did it again, just trying something different. And again with no shadow, and now this time gray with the rainbow as the shadow, and again this one with just the gray shadow, no shadow at all, pink with the colorful shadow, and then this one with something different inside. What I've learned is that a lot of these styles I was using kind of looked the same, but I didn't care. Normally I'm like, oh, I gotta do something different. But for this, I didn't care that they were similar. This is what I liked. This is what I wanted to do. It really can be helpful to fully explore one style for a little bit and see what you like and don't like about it and see how it kind of changes and evolves. And number 3, you'll get to know your pens really well. If there's a certain type of pen or lettering tool you want to get better at, try using it every day and you'll be surprised how quickly you'll learn. Every pen or tool works a little bit differently and it gives a slightly different look. I feel like if you only use a pen here and there randomly, you don't experience its full potential. I love these pens so much for the flexible tip that won't fray and the cute rainbow pastel colors. So I never got tired of using these. But learning so much about them and seeing all the things that I can do with them, I kind of want to try it with a different pen that I love. I wonder what I could learn from pens that I already love and use in a different way that I maybe hadn't thought of before. Have you ever thought of something like this? I have so many pens that in a way I feel like I'm missing out on their potential and miss out on not knowing them as well as I maybe could. Number 4, you have to let go of perfection if you're going to do it every day. For me, some lettering pieces can take several days to a week to perfect and just get it right, but I had committed to lettering in 1 page every day. That meant there were a lot of quotes that I didn't really like and I wish I could redo. And you know, there's definitely good learning that happens when you redo a piece and get it just perfect, but there's also learning that happens when you just let it be. Number 5, you'll learn things about yourself and you'll be more in tune with how you're feeling. Some days I had great ideas for a design that I could spend an hour on focusing on the details. Like this one, I searched through Google Fonts for a really long time to choose 2 styles that I wanted to try. And that was also this one too. I just loved this font style that I found on Google Fonts. Some days I just wanted to explore the colors instead of doing a lot of lettering. Some days I mostly just wanted to write something that I had read in a book. I wasn't really excited about doing the lettering for it. Some days I thought about all the little details, and some days I just kept it simple. Some days I lettered at my desk so I could keep things lined up pretty well. Some days I was laying in bed and so there was like no layout whatsoever. Some days I was excited about what I was lettering, and then some days I was just exhausted. And this is what happened on day 38. We moved. And that took a couple days unpacking, and then we went on a little getaway. So I skipped a few more days from that. And at first, I felt like I was letting myself down. I had committed to every day, and I knew it was really helping me. So how could I just stop? Well, because I had learned about myself over the 38 days, I was in tune with myself. I knew that actually some days I probably didn't need to letter to make me feel better. Some days there were other things I could do that would help me feel better, like going to bed. I didn't want to stick to a commitment that was going to actually make my life harder. And here's the thing, when I started this journal, I was pretty desperate for a change. And it didn't solve everything. I still had bad days, overwhelm, burnout, days where I didn't feel like myself. But on those days, I knew exactly what was going to help me pull out of it. It was my pens and my journal. I know the benefit of making time to letter every single day, but the whole point of it is to listen to what I need to fill my bucket so I can be my best self for everyone else in my life. That is going to be different every day. And I'm going to continue to fill these blank pages. It just might not be every day. It will be when I know that I need it. So what do you think? Would you commit to 30 days of lettering with only one type of pen? Or is that too much? And if you want to see more of my lettering journal, here is a playlist I created for you. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you there.